A few months back, I made this video sharing answers to 3 hard behavioral questions, Scrum Master interview questions, and due to popular demand, here's 6 more. Hard behavioral Scrum Master questions together with their answers. This video will be from the point of view of the interviewer so that you, as an interviewee, as a candidate, can get into our minds. Question number 1. Do you still do the sprint review even if stakeholders don't attend? That's quite a tricky question. My general stance concerning Scrum events: you never skip them. You always do the Scrum events no matter what. Skipping events, especially Scrum events, is a slippery slope. We are creatures of habit. We like doing the same things over and over again. Going to the gym. You go to the gym every single day. You skip only one day. There's a high chance that the next day you'll be skipping also. And if you skipped 2 days in a row, why not skip 3? The habit of skipping starts forming. We are creatures of habit. Same thing applies for the sprint review or any other Scrum event. If you skip the sprint review once, simply because stakeholders didn't attend, there's a high chance that you'll also skip the next one. Do the sprint review. Celebrate the sprint together with the team. Even if there's no stakeholders, celebrate progress. Celebrate what you achieved together. Talk about the sprint goal. Talk about how close or how far or that you completed the sprint goal. Do the demo together with the team. Celebrate your wins, even your failures. Learn from your failures. Show progress. Now that we have that out of the way, why did the stakeholders not attend the sprint review? You need to find out. You need to find out just after the sprint review. Start investigating. You are the Scrum Master. Start investigating why the stakeholders didn't attend. Are you catering the sprint review to meet the expectations of the stakeholders? Of the stakeholders seen, listened to, appreciated? Why does the stakeholder need to attend? Do they see the importance of the sprint review? Ask them directly. Why are you not attending? What you're trying to find out here is what's in it for them. Make them understand what's in it for them. And once you do that, they will be attending. Because you always attend something where you'll gain a lot. Obviously, if you can do it. But people attend things where there's clearly a value. And for me, if people are not attending your sessions, your meetings, they don't see any value in that. So go back to the why. Understand why they are not attending and fix this issue just after the sprint review. Because if you don't do it, they won't attend the next sprint review also. Question number 2. As per the Scrum Guide 2020, the Scrum Master's role is to enforce the process. But the Agile Manifesto, one of the values of the Agile Manifesto, people over processes. Contradiction? What do you think? What I want to see here from the candidate, the understanding of the role of a Scrum Master. A true leader, a servant leader, not here to tell people what to do, not here to supervise people, micromanage people. Understand what self-management is, understand what self-organization is, understand that the Scrum team should be able to decide what to build, how to build it, who builds it, and by when to build it without the Scrum Master telling them what to do. The Scrum Master is part of the team. People over processes doesn't mean that we don't need to follow a process. No, far from that. It just means that the Scrum Master can enforce the process, especially the Scrum framework, but still keep people in mind. Everything you do, you keep people in mind. What's in it for them? Why do we need to do that? Make them understand that first, and then apply and force the process. Apply and force anything, but make them understand why they are doing it so that they can do it without you. When they are motivated, driven to do something, they don't need you. They don't need you to keep on going and going. Okay, you need to do that. You need to do that. You need to update Jira. Why? Why do we need to update Jira? Make them realize the benefit, their benefit in updating Jira, and they will be doing it without you. Question number 3. What kind of information would you require from the product owner to provide your team with an update on the market, on the product, on the current situation with customers? What I want to see here is that the Scrum Master understands why. Why do you need this information? Why value is important? Why customers is important? Why we are trying to maximize value here? And then work with a product owner. The product owner shouldn't be working in isolation. No, the product owner should be continuously talking with stakeholders, the customers, and the team also. Shouldn't make any decisions in isolation. No, even product decisions, talk with the team. The team has some ideas. We are a team, we make decisions together. The kind of information you need here is of quantitative nature. For example, analytical data describing how the process is utilized, or qualitative measures Metrics, surveys, feedback from customers. How do we measure the quality of the value? Some of you might have noticed, but it's a trick question. There's a trap in the question. Why does the Scrum Master need to collect data from the product owner to talk with the team, to share data concerning the product with the team? Why isn't the product owner talking with the team? Why isn't the product owner talking with stakeholders, all the sponsors, all the customers? Why is the Scrum Master doing that? It's a trap. It's an anti-pattern. The product owner should be talking with the team, making decisions together with the team, analyzing the data together with the team. We have sessions for that. You can use the backlog refinement to talk about the stories and talk about why we are doing the stories backed up with data, with user testing. If you want to share this data with stakeholders, use the sprint review. It's not the Scrum Master. It's the product owner who should be doing that. Question number 4. What factors should a Scrum team consider prior to committing on a sprint goal during the sprint planning? What should they consider? What kind of data? What I'm trying to see here is their understanding of a sprint planning, of a whole planning process. I'm expecting here that they will, at a high level, explain the whole planning process, because you can't answer this question without going through what is the user story. What are requirements? What's the refinement process? What are estimations? What's velocity? How do you calculate velocity of a team? How do you estimate work? Empiricism. Why past data? Why do we make decisions based on past data? Basically explaining the whole flow from writing a user story to committing on it in the sprint planning. I'm expecting, at least at a high level, explaining the whole process. Now, going back to the factors we need to consider, that's the easy part. You need to consider leaves. Are people taking leaves in the next sprint? Sick leaves, local leaves, training leaves? What's happening in the sprint, the next sprint, that didn't happen in this sprint or the past 3 sprints? This is you need to be aware of, because to calculate the velocity of a team, you're taking the average velocity of the past 3 sprints. But what if in the next sprint, half of the team on leave? You can't really use the same velocity, take the same amount of work. You need to take less. Maybe some new joiners join the team. People left the team. How do you handle that in terms of amount of work, in terms of capacity? Any public holidays? Christmas? The New Year? What about skills, knowledge? Maybe we're working on something totally new. We need to do some research. We need to do a spike. We don't have enough data to estimate the work. How is this being tackled? Maybe we just released something and there will be a lot of production issues, what we are expecting, because past data shows that when we usually release stuff, there's a lot of issues. How are we handling this? Can the team even work on these user stories? Are the user stories ready? Do they meet the definition of ready? Are they clear? Can they estimate the work? Do they have the skills, knowledge, tools required in order to do the work, or are they dependent on another team? Do we need another team in order to complete the sprint goal? If that's the case, the other team needs to be aware that they will be needed in the sprint. They need to commit the same as you commit. They will also need to commit. Number 5, how do you handle a situation where a team member is dominating the conversation, especially in the daily scrum? I want to understand here if the Scrum Master, the candidate, understands what's a daily scrum, at least at a high level, explaining what's a daily scrum and the purpose of a daily scrum. How the involvement of each one of these team members in the daily scrum, the developers, the Scrum Master, the product owner, and if they understand that everyone should be at the same level. There's no hierarchies in Scrum. There's no sub-teams in Scrum. Everyone, single team, same level. So in the daily Scrum, no one should be supervising other people, giving orders to other people. No one should be reporting to each other. It doesn't mean that there shouldn't be different personalities. Obviously, different people act different way. If someone is dominating the daily Scrum because of their personality, is that really wrong if we're meeting the purpose of the daily scrum? I don't think so. As long as this person understands the purpose of a daily scrum, that the decisions need to be made together, that we need to build a plan together, they can lead the daily scrum. Not prevent other people from talking. No, that's different. They can lead the daily scrum. They can take the lead during the daily scrum. A developer taking the lead, there's nothing wrong with that. And it's good because they're pushing the team to go further. But remember, this person is not a supervisor. Same level as the others. one vote like the others, make decisions together as a team, and no one is reporting to that person. Now, if a person is really dominating the conversation, preventing other people from talking, making all the decisions, you have a problem. One-to-one conversation with a person. As a Scrum Master, talk with a person, understand why. Do they really understand the purpose? Maybe they don't realize that they are doing something wrong. Talk with a person first, and then do a working agreement or a team agreement where everyone together will agree on how to do the daily Scrum. And the team will keep this person accountable, and the team can, based on this working agreement, based on this agreement, as a team can tell this person, okay, you're not following the working agreement. You're preventing us from making decisions together. Number 6, how do you prevent boredom or increase participation in a sprint retrospective? That's a tricky question. Candidates usually answer with, I have this format, this fancy format to do the sprint retrospective, or I use this application. I like going to the basics, really basic level. Why are people bored in the sprint retrospective? Why are they not participating? Ask them why, and you'll be very surprised, because in most cases, the issues are not with the sprint retrospective itself. It's prior to the sprint retrospective. It's a team issue. Maybe they are not safe, psychologically safe. Maybe they don't trust each other. Maybe they don't see growth, improvement as a priority. Maybe we are talking the sprint retrospective. We are coming up with a list of actions, but the actions are never prioritized. We never do the actions. Why do they even need to talk in the sprint retrospective if that's the case? You can use your fancy templates, your fancy applications, but if these issues, you'll never be able to make people talk because they don't see the importance of a sprint retrospective. They don't see the value of a sprint retrospective. So fix that first. And how do you fix that? One-to-one session with all the team members. Ask them why, and you'll be very surprised with the answers. If they are not talking to you as a Scrum Master, if they are not telling you what's the issue, and you see that they are not participating in the sprint retrospective, and if they are not telling you why they are not participating, maybe that's an issue with you. They don't trust you as a Scrum Master, and that's another problem. Which brings me to my next point. If you want more tips, insights on Agile, Scrum, personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.